Greetings, everybody. Gertie, I didn't know that about the women's group. I guess I'm kind of representing the women divers of the group today. I would like to really say this is an exceptional event and thank Pistoleros and James and Joseph. I think it's an excellent job. Can't wait to see how the rest of it goes. I am truly honored to be here, and I am quite surprised that I was invited to attend. I do not think of myself as a legend, but then as I thought about it, maybe some people do, and I will try and fulfill that duty as being a legend. I know age plays a part in it, and I can accept that as well. I am the wife of George Vafis, a phenomenal man, a phenomenal free diver. George passed away 3 years ago, and I miss him terribly. I actually brought some of his ashes here today with me and his dive watch. They sit on my pillow every day, and he comforts me all the time, so I brought him to comfort me here today. It was my privilege, joy, and honor, and a lifetime of happiness to be married to George Vafis. We were spearfishing well over 30 years before he passed away. And because of that, I am wearing his club jacket with the San Diego Freedivers, and I really, really miss him. He was the hunter, and I was the helper, and that's partly why I thought it was strange that I'm a legend, but I did a lot of helping, and he did a lot of hunting, so we had a wonderful time. He dived down to hunt. I'd kind of time his dive. I would be ready on the top to go down and get him in case he had a shallow water blackout or trouble with a wrap on a fish or something. And I'd keep my eyes on him, and thankfully that never happened. He was always a safe diver, didn't have any close calls or anything, not while I was with him. It was amazing to watch him dive. He would be on point, like I'd say like a hunting dog goes on point. Spear gun extended, hand on the butt, fins out. You know, he must have been, 12 feet long, 13, 16, I don't know. He was really long, but amazing to watch. And I knew when he was on point like that odds were that he was going to come up with a fish. And he almost always did. He didn't ever miss a fish when I was diving with him. I think he got all of the misses out of the way before I started diving with him. And he was just an excellent free diver. He'd come up, I would help him with his gear. He would hand me his spear gun first off, his Predonovich spear gun. He'd hand it to me. I'd keep the line away from him, and he would be able to bring the fish in kind of unencumbered. And when he had the fish under control, I would take a hairpin stringer and go over and actually put the stringer through the gills, and I would hang on to I'd lock it up and hang on to it till he got his shaft out, and then I'd hand off the fish to whoever would take it, or I'd carry it around depending on the circumstances. I have speared my share of fish over the years. I really play that down because I'm not a terribly skilled spearfisher person, but I love being in the water, and I think that one of the reasons I'm thought to be a legend, and here's the clue, one of my email addresses is Shark Stopper. And there's a reason for that. The first time that I ever dove with sharks was in the Sea of Cortez, and it was on scuba, and it was, I think, my first deep dive on scuba. We were down at 105 feet, and George had wanted to show me an area where he'd previously seen schooling hammerheads. Well, went right to the area and went right to the schooling hammerheads, and we were in the middle of them, and it was just amazing. Had no sense of panic, no sense of concern, just amazement for these beautiful animals. Came up, got the thumbs up from George that I was an okay diver. He'd dive with me anytime, and from then on, I just always loved sharks. Another time on scuba, also in the Sea of Cortez, we had just been talking up above how when you see a shark that you want to keep eye contact with it. And there was an emphasis on keeping the eye contact. And since we'd been talking sharks, I decided I had better look around a little more than I usually do. And we were at 95 feet in some very shimmery water in a thermocline, and there's this big shark coming toward us. So I was just sort of swimming backwards. I was calm. I was just amazed at how big it was. I knew it wasn't a great white, didn't know what it was, and I just kept my eyes on it. And I thought, well, eventually George will turn around. Well, not only did he turn around, he was spearing, I might add. He turned around and he went right for the shark with his gun out, extended. And I'm thinking, don't shoot the damn thing. And what I didn't realize, or what I learned at that moment, is that if you go at a shark, it will turn. And that's all that he was doing, and we laughed about it when we got up on top. the first trial by fire with sharks and spearfishing was when we went to Australia. We had been briefed on the bronze whalers and the black V's of Australia and how they were pretty aggressive, especially if you had a speared fish around, and so we were trying to figure out how to deal with it. Well, trial by fire was that George speared a fish. The sharks came around with my spear gun. I would go toward them, never actually touch them, but just spook them away, and we put all the fish on the boat. We never lost a fish to sharks. So that was the first trial by fire. If there was a tiger shark, and we had instances where we had tiger sharks around, we would get out of the water. We just didn't mess around with tiger sharks. I've never seen a great white in the water, although I actually would like to. Yes, I'm nuts, but yes, I would like to. And if there's an instance like we had once off of Australia, we had about a 14-foot hammerhead going around us. It was just sort of slowly doing a 360 around us. It wasn't closing in too tight, but closing in a little. We got out of the water. You know, there's just times when you just do not want to play with the sharks. We were in northern Australia once, and it was blue water, not seeing much. We were hoping to see some dogtooth tuna. And George was out in the blue. We hadn't been seeing anything out there. Excuse me 1 minute. And I had kind of wandered into the shore because the reef was beautiful. Some of the fish there were beautiful. And I hear a shot. Blam. I know, oh, I'm not with him. I need to go to him. And I saw 6 sharks and going like this out toward him. So I just kicked out there, and I thought, okay, I'm going to get out, and there's going to be a time for me to shoo away some sharks, and I hope it's a dogtooth, and yada, yada. So I get out there, and I had a good kick on to get out to him in time, I thought, and I look down, and I don't see the fish. I don't see the sharks. I don't see the line. I don't see his gun. He lost everything. Apparently, the sharks did get the fish. What took it away? He had a Potts reel, and the drag broke on it when he tried to pull the drag on it. He's thinking, can I cut it with a knife? Did I tie it to the thing, or is it going to free spool? And when he got to the end and it pulled him underwater, he knew that he had tied it on and he had lost his gun. The cool thing is that I tapped him on the shoulder, expected him to be super mad. And he turned around, and he had eyes like saucers. And if you knew George Vafis, you knew a big smile. Big smile, and he says, "Oh, F." You know what word I mean. What a rush. And he was just adrenaline-filled the rest of the day. He just saw it as a wonderful time. He had a really good time with that. So, and he didn't moan and groan. He was an amazing man. I can't say enough about him. We had another incident on the north of Australia where we were going on the outside of the barrier reef into blue water. We had been seeing some smaller dogtooth tuna, had his 4-band gun, usually plenty of power to get the size fish that we were seeing. We were seeing about 40 to 60 pound dogtooth. They weren't huge. And he goes to load the spear gun, and the band breaks. And when the band breaks, I, as helper, grab his band and put it in my wetsuit because it's the Pradanovich bands, and they have the little wishbones, and we want to save all those pieces parts so we can make more bands. So then he goes to load the next one, and it broke. So he's ending up going out hunting, and it's only powered by 2 bands remaining. So we do go to the outside, and right away he sees a dogtooth tuna and shoots it. And it didn't penetrate as fully as a good shot like George's usually would, so the fish is porpoising on top of the water, just bouncing along. And in no time at all, what turned out to be 7 sharks were on that fish, and it was gone, pulverized, turned to dust in seconds. It was unbelievable. That's the first and only fish that I remember ever losing a shark to, or George losing a shark to. Losing to a shark, and it was just amazing to see it happen. Well, that wasn't quite the end of it. George started kicking back. He was actually swimming backwards, and I just went into my mode of getting rid of the sharks, and they came up from below like a train, and I just dove down, and it was the one time that my spear tip actually hit a shark. It actually touched the shark, and it went off, and they went on their merry way. Well, I got over to George, and what I didn't realize was that he was feeling very much like he was part of the food chain, and he was scared. He says, I think I soiled my pants. And you have to know George to appreciate that comment. Anyway, we had some wonderful times, and I guess I'm a legend because I enjoyed diving with a man who enjoyed spearing fish. amongst sharks, and I just had a ball doing all of that. Focus today is on legends. I can't leave without saying something about Jack Pradanovich. He and my husband, George Vafis, were good friends. And Jack was an exceptional man. As I said, they were really good friends. And Jack was truly a spearfishing legend. It goes without saying, but I just want to bring up his name every chance we get. Jack died 12 hours before my husband died. The two of them didn't know, obviously, each other had passed away. I was getting calls the morning my husband died that Jack had passed away, only to tell people that George had passed away. So that's kind of poignant. Their obituaries appeared side by side in the Union Tribune, not planned. It just happened, and I just think it was just sort of magical. This container of ashes of George, his wish when he was cremated was to be scattered at sea. And what I decided to do was to scatter him all over the place. And I take this container with me in the water, and I actually swirl the ashes, dive through them, give my baby a virtual hug, and it has been just awesome for my grieving process and for enjoying the ocean, and also for putting George back where he came from. Or back where he wanted to be. Carrie Humphreys, I don't know if Carrie's here today, but Carrie did a 5-minute video at San Benito's, hi Carrie, at San Benito's of an ashes scattering that I just cherish. I look at it all the time, and I have friends that look at it all the time. If any of you would like to see a video of ashes scattering of a legend freediver, I'll give you my email address and I'd be happy to send it to you. It's just amazing. Thank you all. I enjoyed being here very much.